Sweet, my router can take the that upgrade. So yeah, I'll have mesh tomorrow, not today. So I'm not gonna screw with that right now.
He likes our meshed internets. Are we online? Hello, internet. Can you hear us?
Yep, we're online. All 45 notifications went off.
Yeah, I just haven't got one for some reason yet.
There we go. I just switched over.
Huh, there it goes. Okay, stop playing.
Hey, I can watch us right now. How about that?
I could type hey in the chat, or I could just say hey. I'll do both.
Say hey.
Hey,
Say hey. Hey.
Say hey, Willie Mays.
We usually kind of map out what we're going to talk about, but I guess this is all like loosey goosey format anyway, so
kind
whatever.
of.
Silverado, just the Silverado cast.
Yeah. Oh, did you watch it too? Wasn't
Yeah.
sure if you did or not. Okay.
Yeah, I also can talk about that Bulls documentary on ESPN. At least first two episodes.
Are they dropping two at a time?
Yes,
Okay.
every Sunday there will be two more.
Or is it like a one and one?
No, there's 10 episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah. Hey, check it out. It's a live stream.
Hey, it's a live stream.
Sounds like me.
Was it going for mimicry?
You weren't?
I wasn't.
Oh,
No.
good.
I was just being stupid voice guy.
Hmm. Well, good
I mean,
job.
extra stupid
Mission
voice guy. Yeah, I
accomplished.
mean, more so than normal.
Hang a banner.
Extra stupid voice guy.
Yeah. I like it. Oh, looks like my Audacity is working. So there's that.
BJ's mic is now so quiet. I fear that we keep losing his audio. Though I know he's most likely there. It's just
I'm still here.
yeah. That's
Don't
what I mean.
worry.
It's like I don't know. You just kind of like appear in and just to say something and then disappear back out of the room like a ghost.
Yeah. It's like
Boom.
auto muting. So BJ,
Yeah, I
type
actually-
something.
Okay, hang on. Let me.
That was me.
All right, here I am typing something in the chat.
Typing's backwards. He is.
Not bad.
Did you hear anything?
It's we
Barely.
barely.
Yeah, it catches like high clicks.
Hmm.
Like any sharp noises, it has a hard time catching. Like the attack time isn't perfect, but
Yeah.
it does a really good job otherwise. I think I might turn my gain down a little bit.
Whatever you need to do, sir.
I feel
As
like
long as I'm sounding
Yeah.
loud enough on Harlow's end and it doesn't sound shitty.
yeah.
We're gonna need to get started soon
Why is that?
Oh yeah?
because my glass is half empty.
Or is it half full?
No, it's half empty. It was full, and then I took half of it out.
Mm-hmm. But it could be half full. But no, actually, I subscribe to it's the act of whatever you're doing. If you're removing liquid, then it's half empty, and if you were adding it, then it's half full. And
Makes sense.
you were clearly removing liquid, so I will go with the half empty. Not as
Oh,
a
yeah.
pessimism, but more as a etymology-based argument.
As a pedantic
Yes.
declaration.
To be fair,
I like that last week Chuck used reckless trespassing as the title.
no, I think
I was like,
I think it was me. I don't know why I said those two words together.
is that an actual crime or is it
No, it just needed to be like more than trespassing.
yeah. God, I need to like buy a light for my house because every like thing I come out is bright red. It's bad.
Put the try one of the things I do is I put the back of my hand close to my camera and
Yeah.
that picks up my actual skin tone
Really?
and then that
Camera better have my money.
might work.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Nope. You're still red as fuck.
Yeah.
You need some leads.
Still a fucking grunkalunka here. Tell them
I'll be
I
right back.
hate
I gotta
them.
get some more water.
All right. Water. Water.
Yeah.
Drinking
I switched to a
fucking
Tumblr
bourbon
full
here,
of
this man's getting
gin.tumblr.com.
Oh, you got gin this time?
Yeah, it's pure gin. Mm.
No ice. Just give me that
Yeah,
gin.
raw gin, which I believe is an anime or a manga.
What?
I said raw gin.
Sure.
I don't know.
So, I think the only thing I could do to update this Mac is more memory. But we've tried that once because it's like it wants a very specific type or it won't recognize it.
Yeah,
And
well,
my
I mean,
understanding is it's hard to get that for a Mac this old now.
probably. I mean, because ECC memory, which Macs require, is inherently less made because it's like for servers, and Macs just were like, we require it.
Yeah.
And then, it wasn't heavily manufactured when it was new, and then the older it gets,
Yeah.
the harder it is to find.
It sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not impossible.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, there's part of me that wants to just move my PC in here and do that. That way I can do that sweet RTX thing that BJ.
you could do all the things. You could go in there and game. You could
Well,
game.
he got all digitized.
You could
again.
go like, full PC gamer mode on us and become one of them.
I could stream from in here. That's true.
Yeah. I mean, you only have like
Of course,
1,500
I'd have to dig out
Steam
my
games.
Wi-Fi card that would allow me to connect to a network, but whatever. Because I did not hardwire all the way into the dining room.
One doesn't
I
think
was
they're
not
going to
willing
need.
to climb over all the trusses to get there.
One doesn't generally think you're going to need Cat 5 or 6 cable in the dining room.
Yeah, normally that's not a thing, but you never expect to be laid off while your wife has to work from home.
Yeah. Nobody
Go figure.
Nobody expects the Spanish influenza.
And exactly. So, are you about ready, BJ?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Cool. Do we just want to get going then?
Yeah, give me
Are you whittling
start
something?
Audacity. Yeah.
Some spare whittling? Pass the time?
And is everyone recording?
I am recording.
Sweet.
Affirmative.
Had some gunk in my
You're drunk?
fingernail. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
And one of my best friends got me a new knife.
Oh, wait, you actually were whittling.
I wasn't whittling.
Oh.
I was cleaning out from underneath my fingernail.
Oh, okay. Well, I just thought I saw a knife, and then I was like, nah, that couldn't have been a knife. He wouldn't just be. It was not the whittle cast.
Yeah.
That's where
Welcome
kids.
to
That's
this
where
old man
kids
cast.
get around and whittle things. It's the whittle cast.
Yeah.
It's whimsical.
Whittle.
It's
Focus, you
whimsical.
fuck.
Focus.
Oh, that is it.
Yeah.
Did you get your whittling chip?
It's like a fucking big
Oh.
blade too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that big blade music.
You can stick a pig with that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I meant like a pig, not a cop.
Mm.
God,
Oh.
why'd you go there?
I don't know.
Because all cats are beautiful.
Yep.
So no Chuck tonight, huh?
No.
We're not getting Chuck for variety hours, I think. We need to get him on this RTX thing so that all the background
know.
noise will not happen.
He doesn't have a PC though.
I should just really lean into the fact that I can't get a haircut. Just stop trying. Even more so than
I cut mine.
Yeah?
Did you?
Jen cut mine and I shaved.
Yeah. I
Which
think
I
I'm just
honestly-
I'm just gonna go full like look at this hair.
I like it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got the neck beard going. I trimmed, but then I was like, fuck the shaving part. I trimmed.
Yeah, I had 3 weeks of neck beard and I finally shaved it because it was
Yeah.
not good. I wasn't enjoying it.
This is from Friday before last, and it's at that annoying point where either I let it go or I shave it again. Then it's annoying in a week again. But yeah, Harlow, you should just since you still have a full head of hair, unlike the rest of us, you should just shave the sides.
Yeah.
And go like
Go one of those faux hawk or undercuts.
Yeah.
What do they call those? Something
Just go mohawk.
mohawk.
Yeah.
May mo.
Go full Mr. T. Just do a fucking
Yeah.
stripe down the middle. And you've got your rogue stripe in the front too, so it look extra cool.
Yeah.
He ain't wrong.
Yeah. I could be Mr. IT. I pay you full. Don't try to reboot before the call. Yeah.
Yeah, eventually I'll do The Rock just to see how my completely bald head looks.
I'm just watching watching Audacity, and it's not picking up the claps at all.
It's good.
It's good. Can't get the clap. Good on you, Audacity.
Crap, I can't start. Hang on.
Why not? You okay?
I have to give the dog her pills because this is going to be like an hour and a half, and then it will be 10 o'clock, and that's not a good thing.
Okay.
'Cause then she'll be up in the middle of the night being like, I need water. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Talk amongst yourselves.
Give us a topic.
Ant lions. They're neither ants nor lions. Discuss.
Yep.
I don't know. So
Peanut butter. It's neither peanuts nor. Oh no, it's peanuts. Fuck, that one doesn't work. No, it's the peanut. It's neither a pea nor a nut. That's what I was trying to think of.
Yes. Fucking idiot.
I haven't had to communicate a lot with the outside world. My skills are slipping. They weren't that honed to begin with. It's like you're whittling knife in a few weeks. It's just gonna be all dull from all that whittling.
A whittling.
I made me an arrowhead and another arrowhead.
I carved me a bunch of pointy sticks.
Yeah. Someone attacks me with a piece of fresh fruit, and I want to be ready.
I had maybe a joke, but I forgot it.
What is that dead-looking dinosaur-y thing to your left?
This?
Yes.
Oh, it's a blanket.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like a sad plush. It was like, it looked kind of like a Stegosaurus plush, and it was, oh, it is pandas, though. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Here, I'll be back.
Okay. Man, Discord's got to get with the program. You can't do those, like, customized backgrounds yet.
What's that?
I said Discord needs to get with the program and let you do the customized backgrounds thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't Microsoft own Discord somehow? Is that what I
think
remember
so.
hearing? I mean, I know they have Teams, but I thought they also
Was-
bought controlling interest in Discord. Microsoft, you know? I don't know. I thought I heard that.
Well, were you guys listening to my conversation with Jen about the dog's food? I see someone saying crunchy or smooth.
Someone, peanut butter?
Oh, we were talking about peanut butter.
Because I fucked up a joke.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Actually, I have to put peanut butter on the cheese that I give her pills in.
Oh, no.
She stopped eating the cheese.
No. That was...
I thought someone heard me talking
No.
about it.
We
I was
were
like, oh,
doing
crap.
the, what did he start with? The...
Ant lions.
Ant lions.
Neither ants nor lions. Discuss.
And I meant to do the peanuts are neither a pea nor a nut, but I said peanut butter. It's neither peanut. And I went, oh, wait, no, it is peanuts. Yeah,
You imbecile.
I fucked it up. That's what started the peanut butter
Absolute
discussion.
clown.
Yeah, not the
Goddamn moron.
not your dog pill giving trickery, tomfoolery, shenanigans,
You know me, I'm all about the tomfoolery.
hoodwinkery. Yeah.
All right. I got to move my drink to where the switch was, and then I'll move the switch to where the drink was. Beep, boop, beep, boop.
And yeah, so this
Did you just take a picture of us?
No.
this right here is was a Christmas gift from a friend of mine who's an artist.
Mhm.
Made that for me.
Oh, your portrait?
Yes,
Your portraiture.
Yeah. And she did a funny version that's right here that I could get up and grab.
That's the one that's like right dead center in the camera, right?
Yes.
Talking about your face.
God damn.
What?
You're just on fire tonight.
I don't
You're
know.
just scorching all comers.
Breitbart? Is that what this is?
No, it says Der Verge. I don't even remember the context for that. But it's funny.
All right.
German for the beach.
Yeah.
Well,
It stands for the Bart the.
all right. I'm actually ready now. So,
Okay. Yay.
You know,
Well, Chuck.
don't let me hold you up.
33 minutes of gold to sift through before you get to the real thing here, so on the card.
Holy crap, you're right. I'm stopping it, and then I'm going to restart it.
I'm
Good
not
point.
worried about it.
Yeah. I just like to make it a little easier for Chuck. Yeah, if you're ready.
I'm ready. Clap.
All right, and welcome to the Bamfcast Variety Hour.
Variety Hour.
Yeah, number
Variety Hour.
3. Numbers no longer have meaning. Time doesn't have meaning. But I'm
Nothing
Harlow.
has meaning. I'm Mackie.
I'm BJ.
Yeah, and we're
And
here with
it's
another
Variety Hour.
existential cast. Yeah, on a weekly
are-
basis. Yeah.
Very nice.
But yeah, we are stuck at home. We are foregoing, in case you're for some reason joining us now, like it's the latest episode, we're foregoing the actual bad movie part of our normal thing, so that's why we're calling it the Variety Hour. We're just shooting the shit about what we've been watching. Other things may creep in, but, you know, we have loosey-goosey. It's like a long second half, but loosey-goosey on the rules. We've tried to plan a couple of things like, hey, I'm going to watch this. Anyone want to join along? Go ahead. And I think that happened this week with perfect 100% success rate.
Yeah. Just
There was
barely.
some discussion last week. Because BJ, you watched Tombstone.
Yeah, so I was watching Tombstone, and I was talking to listener Jens about Tombstone. Hi, Jens. And
He doesn't speak like that.
Uncanny.
I know. You can tell me he doesn't speak like that as much as you want. I'm still going to do hi, Jens, because it
I
makes
know,
me
I
laugh.
know.
But so we were talking about the music, because I was remarking to him that it reminded me in some ways of Goldsmith, and so he's like, "Oh, funny you should mention that, because they wanted Goldsmith for the music to Tombstone, but instead Goldsmith suggested the guy whose name I've forgotten now."
Oh, it's like, crap. It's like Billy Bro or something like that.
Yeah, George Brow?
George Bra.
B-R.
I don't know.
I'll find it here eventually. One day. When my husband returns from the war.
My dearest Abigail. It's been 3 fortnights since I last wrote you.
Bruce Broughton. There it is.
Bruce Broughton. I knew it was
Man,
a BB.
Samsonite. We were so
It was
close.
an alliterative name.
Yeah. So, yeah, so it was recommended to Cosmatos, I guess. Cosmatos, whatever his name is.
Sure.
The guy that directed.
Cosmatos. I think that works.
Yeah. So it was recommended by Goldsmith that they use Bruce Broughton, and then somebody else who worked on Silverado, I think, suggested Bruce Broughton again, or Kasdan consulted Goldsmith and he said Bruce Broughton is the guy for this. But anyway, it's like Jens's second favorite director, and he's like, oh, telling me all sorts of. You get Jens on a tear about music, especially anything Goldsmith adjacent, and he will just.
Yeah.
I don't want to say vomit because I don't want to like give it a bad connotation, but he will just eject
He won't stop.
masses of knowledge into you, and it's
Yeah, he's just skeets the knowledge everywhere, and you can't help it.
yes,
Yeah.
he yeets knowledge upon you. So he's like, yeah, you got to see. You really, really need to watch Silverado, and I started talking about it in the group chat, I think, and we're like, yeah, Silverado, and Chuck says, yeah, you need to fucking watch Silverado. So we all have now watched Silverado.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It was
Directed
a
by
long time
Lawrence.
getting from there to here. But yes, we all watched Silverado.
Yep.
I'm fucking with you, man. I'm just giving you shit. That's what we do. We can't do it all night and then be nice on the podcast. So this has got to be all encompassing. Yes,
Fair,
we all
fair.
simultaneously, well, not simultaneously, we all watched Silverado after his discussion about, and we're all realizing we'd never seen Silverado somehow. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Directed by Lawrence Kasdan and written by Lawrence Kasdan and Mark Kasdan, and starring Kevin Kline and Scott Glenn and Kevin Costner and Danny Glover
And a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah.
and like 85 other people.
Yeah. Like everything
and,
before everything up to the and credit, it was just like, here's 20 names of people that you know. And then like a
Yeah.
few in the also co-starring, and it was like, oh shit, hey, this person too.
Yeah, and there's people like Richard Jenkins. I believe that was his first movie. You even have Brian James, who's not even credited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Brian Dennehy.
And of course,
Yeah.
it's got Brian Dennehy. That's part of why we're like, hey, we should probably watch that. It's got Jeff Goldblum,
Yeah.
Linda. Just
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a crazy cast. Roseanne
Yeah,
Arquette.
Goldblum.
I mean, yeah, it just kind of keeps going.
the thing is, like, I went in going nothing except, okay, this is a Western and Lawrence Kasdan directed. So I was like, all right, cool. And then and then I'm like, hey, that's Scott Glenn in the opening scene. And then the credits start, and I'm just like, oh, cool. Kevin Kline, Scott Glenn, Danny Glover, Kevin Costner. It's just like Brian Dennehy. It's like name after name. I'm like, John Cleese. Wait, what?
Jeff Fahey.
Everyone in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Fahey.
Yeah, it just keeps going. Yeah, I'm forgetting people now because it's so many. But yeah, I think this is one of those things, like the video cover never did this movie any favors for me, because I want to say it looked like, I always thought the Young Guns covers were really dumb. I mean, the movies are pretty dumb too, but they're fun. But like this one was like almost like the Asylum version of a Young Guns cover. I know it was a couple years before it, but like there's just something about it sitting in the video store. I was just like, no, that looks bad. It just like a bad poster or something, to me, underselling this movie, I think. Because
It looks like a shitty recreation of an old Western poster.
yeah, but
Yeah.
the movie's kind of a great recreation of some old Westerns.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know who wants to go first, but yeah, I mean the opening scene is amazing. It just drops you right in. It starts completely soundlessly, which like even all through the production crawls, which I think is a really nice touch. Up until like the very first thing you hear is a gunshot, because someone
I jumped ahead in the movie
Yeah.
just to make sure that there wasn't something wrong with my audio.
right.
I did the same thing.
Like I only because I was just watching on like the same player and everything. Something moments before, I was like, well, I know my audio is good because this was just working, so I trusted it. And yeah, it's this silent all through the production logos up until like a slow pan around to Scott Glenn's sleeping in a cot in like a shack and just starts getting shot at from through the shack, and like so the gunshots are the very first sound in the movie basically. Other than like they fade in a little bit of the ambient sound a little bit when it goes to the scene, just a hint, just enough to go
just
like
barely.
if you're really paying attention, it's like, okay, my sound's not fucked up, but yeah, from there it's just my description of it is I feel like it's one of the last great hurrahs for the Technicolor Western era. To me, like this Tombstone, and I know some of these like came after the other ones, and there were a couple other examples, but to me, like this is kind of a crowning achievement of like the last of the Technicolor Westerns, because Tombstone gets a little more brutal and gritty than this one does, not by a lot. I mean, I still think it's still kind of that, hey, this is Westerns. What I'm trying to get to is like I feel like once Unforgiven came out, most of the roadmap for Westerns turned to the grim and gritty reboot of like, for a while, kids would watch Westerns and be like, wow, that looks like fun. I want to have lived in the Old West, and be a cowboy and shoot guns and stuff and, learn the quick draw and riding horses and all this shit. And then like by the time Unforgiven came around, it was like, besides the fact that that's now impossible in 100 years past, fuck all that shit. You didn't want to live there. Like this sucked. Like, and everything just became like, like the more true, it's like the old Knights movies versus like, when it was like, no, everyone's just pissed and threw it out the window and stuff like that. You're just walking around in sewage in the streets. Like you didn't want to live in medieval times. It was fucking horrible, the plague and everything else, but we glamorized it for a long time. It was, we were watching all the kings and queens and chivalrous, shiny armored knights, and this is kind of like that. It's like everyone's kind of almost wearing like the perfect cowboy, like no cowboy would actually be caught dead wearing this kind of thing, sort of outfits still,
Right.
Yeah,
And
like the Jeff Goldblum outfit almost looks modern. Like
oh
it
yeah,
looks like he's wearing like I mean, there's kind of like it's kind of a pimp suit, but when he steps up to, I think there's like when he talks to somebody, he just looks like he's wearing like a normal sport coat almost.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
his first
And
shot of him
every
is he comes out like wearing a mink coat of like
yeah,
actual not fully finished mink coat, just a bunch of minks sewn together kind of coat, you
yeah.
know. But yeah, it's just like he's basically like an old west pimp when he rolls out in this movie. It's just there's no better way to describe it, but he plays a character named Slick. It's just like, it's that kind of movie. But it's not wholly without consequence or gravitas to things that are happening. It's like there are still terrible depictions of racist shit. There's still like lawlessness and all that, and gunshots actually are gunshots. It's not just like I fell off a banister into a pad. Like it's better than all that. Like this is not to say don't go in expecting like the Searchers or something like where it's like it just totally looks shot on a soundstage. But yeah, it's fantastic. I'm kind of mad that I've never seen it.
It's really great. Yeah, I'm amazed I hadn't seen it before now. And like especially with this cast, it's like holy shit, like what happened? And apparently it flopped completely at the box offices, which is part of why it got forgotten because that's how it goes.
Yeah.
If your movie didn't make $1 billion, it's bad apparently, as opposed to not marketed well or whatever. We've covered that ground with enough things.
Well, this
show.
I mean, this feels like one of those ones. Like I will give you like, I don't hate Waterworld. It's not a great movie, Like there's a lot of movies that like did severely underperformed at the box office that are okay.
Yeah.
I can see like Cutthroat Island is kind of fun. Did it need to cost $120 million? Probably not. Like things like that. Like it's like sometimes you want to root against this, but like this is the first one I can think of where it's like I know people love Ishtar, things like this that have spent $1 billion and made two, but this is what I'm kind of angry about. Like this is the one I would step up and be like, no, like your box office did not equal quality thing. This would be where I'd get in someone's face and be like, no, fuck you, Silverado's good.
Yeah.
So we're the Silverado Defense Force.
Apparently, yeah, or posse. I think we have to be a posse.
Yeah, and I mean it's not without fault. By the end, I found like some of the resolution a little unsatisfying because a lot of the guys are like, "Oh man, this fucker needs to suffer." Because I mean, it is really like it made me realize how much blaxploitation movies are basically just westerns, except all the cast is black. Because it's like, all right, the cops who are in power control everything and they get away with whoever they want. Working in the system is not going to work because they control the system.
Right.
And this movie very much does a lot of that because one thing, Brian Dennehy, man, that guy could play a piece of shit better than just about anybody.
It's weird though because
still be like charming.
Yeah, he's doing almost the exact same thing as in First Blood in this. Like he starts as a total asshole, and I wouldn't say redeems himself by the end, but at least becomes sympathetic. Where it's just like, or at least like he's filled with like, oh fuck, I messed up. Like it's like I'm just resigned to I fucked up. So not necessarily likable, but he's doing almost the exact same character arc in this movie. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. And I found myself wanting Danny Glover's character Mal to be the main character because I was like more motivated by everything that was going on with him than I necessarily was with like it's weird. Kevin Kline is ostensibly like the star. I think he had more screen time than anyone else, but it's kind of like his story to me was the least interesting out of the group. And Scott Glenn, like his just kind of like almost feels like it's happening on the edges. And it's a lot of like, all right, there's a lot of old stuff that's got to be resolved here.
Yeah.
And you never really get the story of what happened entirely with him and all these other dudes, but it still kind of works.
Yeah. All right, so this movie
you definitely get.
Go ahead.
Oh, you definitely get like all of Danny Glover's backstory. So you have that full arc with Danny Glover.
I think so. I feel like
that
there's some left out because like it just kind of says like, well, where were you? I was in Chicago working in the slaughterhouses, but you get the feeling he left for doing different things, like becoming an outlaw for a while and just ending up like that's how he went legit or whatever,
Yeah, because when he first shows the sister, she's just like, "Why the hell are you even here?"
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's more. It feels like it's more than just like you left home. There's something else like you left home being a piece of shit. I was just gonna say, all right, I don't know how you feel, but this is a pretty old movie. Can we at least venture close to spoiler territory? I mean, it's fairly old.
Released in 1985. I think we're okay.
Right. Okay. I wanted to say I don't think this is a giant spoiler for what happens because, I mean, while it's a good movie and I'm not going to talk about directly what happens with the plot, the archetypes are all fairly standard. If you've seen a Western, like what's happening.
Yeah.
Like Kevin Kline is this guy who is like, I'm on the straight and narrow now, but it's like you get the impression you're picking him up just having gone on the straight and narrow, like he's barely out of that life, and so there's a thing that happens at the beginning of the movie because Scott Glenn finds him just basically almost dead in the desert, like someone stole his horse and all his clothes and everything. He's just in his long johns, basically out in the desert dying, and so he finds him, gives him some water, takes him into town, and gives him a couple things, and he gets like this stupid floppy hat, like a prospector's hat kind of thing, and he doesn't like it, and he's bummed about he lost his horse, and he's bummed about he lost his hat more than anything, and his gun.
And his gun.
Yeah, but there's a point where he gets his hat back, and it's a very symbolic moment because like he's described it. It's kind of an unassuming but cool black Stetson with a silver band around it, and he's just like he's kind of described it, but so then you see it. Things happen and he gets the hat back from the guy who stole it. He's kind of slowly catching a lot of the people that stole his shit throughout the course of the movie.
Yeah.
And also, like, from the moment he picks up the hat, which is a black hat, and this is a very archetypal Western type thing, his character starts to drift towards evil. Like, he gets sucked into, like, a job working for the shitty people. His motivations are, wavering from his, granted, they just met like a week ago, but like his new friends, people they seem to really care, and it's like, money, and I can't be involved in that. So his motivation's kind of like, oh, I'm gonna drift back to being the bad guy again. And I was just waiting for a point in the movie where he loses the black hat, and the black hat was just like, fuck this is my old life, I don't need it, I am a good guy now. And there's a moment where they're posseing up to go do a thing, and he comes right alongside in, like, the backwards version of the Missing Man formation. He kind of like comes in and is like, no, I'm going too. And that would have been a perfect fucking moment for him to take the hat and just go, yeah, and fucking like right off. And just, if you're paying attention, it's there. But I was just like, the moment he got the hat and I was like, oh, he's going evil, I was just waiting for that, like, fuck the hat. Like, I'm a good guy now. And it never happens. And like, super minor nitpick. It's just the thing is like, oh man, like they should have done that. I just feel like that would have had a little oomph.
Yeah. One of the things I like that they did with Kevin Kline's character is they gave him a lot of little like motif moments like that, like the hat. He also says like that's bad luck a lot. He references bad luck. There are a couple other things that I can't remember now, but I really like that progression of like it's almost like in a video game when you hit the abilities and you have to go collect all the shit that you had before, the first thing that happens when he comes into town is he sees the guy that stole his horse. And he gets his horse back, and then he gets his hat and his guns, and eventually, I guess he gets his clothes back somewhere, or gets just
I think he just bought some new clothes, yeah.
Yeah. But I like all of his little repetitions throughout the movie. That's all I had to say about that particular part. I really like...
I just thought of one other weird random note. This is so fucking weird. Okay. I have no idea why this happened, but Scott Glenn and Kevin Costner are brothers in this movie, as you come to find out. And they're, he was on his way not only to get his brother, I don't know if he knew he was in jail, but it turns out he's in jail. Not only to get his brother, but like get him and go to see their sister. And we meet his sister and her husband and their kid. And the second, like it was 2 seconds after they showed him, I went, oh, that's Wilson from Home Improvement. Like literally, I was like, why did I do that? Like, A, you never saw us anything but here, and why did I see this guy just immediately, like, a lot of other people, it took me several seconds, like, oh shit, that's so-and-so. For some reason, that guy showed up, and I was like, oh, it's fucking Wilson from Home Improvement. Like, The fuck? That was just the weirdest thing for me to like just pull out of my goddamn head. All these other famous people like, oh hey, it's him. I know, stupid. But please continue.
Yeah. I mean, I like it, but there's a lot of nitpicky stuff that I have about, especially Kevin Kline's character and his motivations and his arc, because it's kind of what Brian Dennehy holds over him doesn't quite make sense to me. As far as like, I don't feel like that relationship is shown as being super developed. And Rosanna Arquette just kind of exists way off on the periphery. Like apparently in the trivia, it said that they cut a lot of her scenes, and it shows because she's just kind of there. And every once in a while, she shows up because it's like, hey, there's a girl the guys are lusting after. But she doesn't really have much personality at all because she's only has really one scene where she gets to talk to anybody, any sort of dialogue. So, it's not perfect, but
No, it's not.
you're not really, that's not really what you're there for anyway, you know. But it seemed like they were trying to set up some sort of love triangle thing that just Kasdan must have been like, you know what, I don't care this. Like
I've done this once.
yeah,
Good.
This is not interesting. Let's move on here.
Well, I mean, it's the weirdest love triangle because it's basically like she goes like, I really just want to farm and have kids and stuff, and Kevin Kline's like, cool, later. like not for me. I'm more about that city life and gambling and shit. So
Yeah,
you have fun
and, like,
with all
Scott
that.
Glenn will stop by and she's like, "Hey, you stopped by," and he's like, "Yeah, I'm leaving in a
Yeah,
minute."
I just wanted to, yeah, no, all right, later, maybe later.
You
But
wanna you me no
No,
what
yeah.
I gotta
Yeah, just
Anyway,
he kind of shows up
I
like
gotta
the
see a man about
Night of the
horse.
Roxbury, like. No, all right.
Yeah.
That doesn't work for the audio podcast at
But
all. Just
I will say there is one definite fuck yes moment, and it happens late in the movie when it's basically like another character tells Scott Glenn, "All right, we got to do this," and he's basically just like, "All right then," and like the music starts swelling, and he starts gearing up, and you're like, "Yeah, fuck yes."
Yeah. I will say another thing. Be prepared because this is one of those movies I thought for a while. I mean, now I see what it was doing and what it was setting up, but for a while I thought it was just going to be Western Dazed and Confused because it feels like it takes a while for the main plot to kick in. Like for a while, it's just like, hey man, where you going my way? Cool. Why don't we ride together? Like. All right. Well, that was fun. Later, man. And maybe we'll see each other again. Bye. And then, it starts to congeal into like you realize what the actual main plot of the movie is because for a while it feels like cowboys hanging out and going places.
Yeah, I mean, after that initial action scene, which I kind of hate to say is the best action scene of the movie, then it kind of settles in and it's kind of low key for a while. All right, we're getting to know everybody here.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, I really liked it. Like, I will watch it again at some point.
Oh yeah, I would definitely recommend it to anybody, especially anyone who likes westerns. Like it's like, yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, what do you do?
Yeah, like I said, I can only blame that I've always been disinterested based on the poster / VHS cover back in the day, just because it was like, nah, that looks like a thing I would not enjoy, but turns out I did.
yeah.
Same here.
Well, is that the end of Silverado cast?
I think so. I mean, I don't have any.
I started watching on ESPN. The Last Dance started airing. They put the first 2 episodes out, which is covering the Chicago Bull 97, 98 season. Somehow they allowed people access to just about everything at that point, which is unheard of, really, especially when you've got like Michael Jordan involved. He's notoriously very guarded about letting people cover him or do video or interview or any of that stuff. But it's basically footage from that interspersed with interviews today with him and Scottie Pippen and Phil Jackson and basically everyone you could think of who's still alive from that era, and they go all the way back to him at UNC in college. So and the first episode is basically focuses on Jordan and Jordan becoming, best player in the world pretty much as soon as he enters the NBA. Everyone knows it. And then the second episode focuses on Scottie Pippen. And I'm assuming, the other ones I've read somewhere that basically a lot of them focus on specific people. So there'll be a Dennis Rodman episode. Eventually there'll
Horace
be
Grant?
a Phil Jackson episode.
Huh.
No, because it's weird because they only really care about, they had the three-peat in the early 90s and then they had the three-peat in the late 90s and they're more focused on that.
Yeah.
And I thought it was going to be a lot of, all right, here's Jordan destroying people, like it was just going to be like, here's all this footage of Jordan just fucking owning everybody. And it kind of is, but it's a lot more behind the scenes stuff than I really expected it to be, which was kind of a welcome thing, especially for somebody, anyone who's watched any of the live streams knows how much of an NBA fan I am because I'm usually wearing a hat from a team, especially when I've got the mid 90s Warriors hat on right now. So yeah, but it's really good. And holy shit, the montages in that are phenomenally because it's basically, they're like, all right, here's Jordan's 63-point game against the Celtics in the playoffs.
Oh my God.
And it's just footage it's a montage of him just destroying them throughout. It's set to Run DMC, really good, I believe. Yeah. And it's just like, oh my God, you guys know what you're doing here. And the other one, like the one where it's when he first enters the league and they're just like, all right. And they're taught, they're interviewing guys from the team. And yeah, after 2 weeks, we knew who the best player on the team was immediately. And then they cut into the montage of him to Eric B. and Rakim, I Ain't No Joke. And it's like, oh my God, this is so good. So yeah, their montage game is definitely on point for that whole thing.
Hey, a sports documentary with not all white people music in it. Great.
Yeah. No, yes. And it's like, and the thing is too, like you notice it's era because like the 97, 98 one is that the Biggie Puffy one with God, which one? It's like Been Around the World, and it's got the David Bowie's Let's Dance, but it's like remixed. But yeah, that's like the footage they show as they're celebrating their championship. Nice. So it's like, okay, yeah. So yeah, it's just really well put together, and it's surprising the interviews that they got with some of these people. So yeah, it's definitely 2 episodes in. It's definitely worth watching. And this is coming from someone who absolutely hated them throughout the 90s. Like watching them was like watching Game of, because it was like, all right, maybe the good guys will win this time. Nope, they got their heads fucking. Jordan wins again. He fucking murdered everyone you liked. They're dead now because of Jordan. So,
well, if you liked any other NBA team in the 90s, you fucking hated the Bulls. So, because they were destroying.
That's why I cannot.
6 years of the 90s.
Yeah. Well, I mean, most of it. I cannot wait until they get the Magic beating them in the playoffs, because I was there for those games. I saw Nick Anderson steal. It always looked at me because our seats were on the other side of the court from the cameras. So whenever I see it, the camera footage, it's like backwards to me. Because it's like the way I saw it, Jordan was actually, I kind of almost couldn't see it because Jordan was in the way of Nick Anderson poking the ball. But all the footage is always from that other side. So I'm curious to see what they do with that, if they just gloss over it because they're like, no, that showed Jordan as human, so you can't show that. But we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I saw another thing. I mean, this is only vaguely related, but I saw like courtside, but like basket, like that basket end and a view of
end zone.
Yeah, no, it's not an end zone, but the end of the court view of the shot. Somebody posted on Twitter not too long ago that they had just discovered, and that was amazing. So I'm looking forward to seeing what other sort of non-standard footage we get to see out of all of that. Where did you say that the documentary was available?
It's on ESPN currently. It's a joint production between ESPN and Netflix, so I'm not sure if it's on Netflix or if they're waiting until it's done before they put it on Netflix.
I don't think it is yet, because they're doing a weird thing. Like they're showing it unedited on ESPN 1 and a censored version on ESPN 2 simultaneously.
Really?
Yes. which I just think is weird. It feels like that.
Yeah.
If anything, that
I
would be
just
backwards.
I went to the streaming one on the website
Okay.
because if you go to ESPN.com, you can find it, but I believe you have to have a cable login to be able to get to it. So steal somebody's cable login and do it that way, I guess. But it's called The Last Dance. But yeah, it's it is not what I was expecting. I was expecting a whole ton of just NBA footage and kind of going chronologically, and it is not that at all. They're jumping all over, and they talk about the basically management wanted to dismantle them. I mean, they had the best team in the world, had just set the record for wins, were regarded as the best team. And then a year later, they're like, yeah, well, these guys are getting old, so we might just blow it up and maybe see if Jordan sticks around. I don't know. And it's like, you fucking idiots. And that's kind of, you can tell that's exactly how the filmmakers were with the footage. You guys are fucking idiots. So, and it's also just really weird to see late 90s footage of Jordan driving around a Corvette because it's like, you are literally the most famous person on earth.
Why are you driving a Corvette?
Why are you driving a Corvette? But I guess he loved them. Who knows? But,
Well, I have a segue.
Yeah, go for it.
No, I've also been watching a TV-ish thing. I decided in my free time, having finished Seinfeld, I was just flipping through and I was like, oh yeah, there's like 2.5 seasons of the Grand Tour that I've not watched because it's not that I forget Prime things exist. Like I have to be reminded Prime things exist. Like I have Prime, but it's for shipping purposes, and then every once in a while I go, oh yeah, they have like TV and movies sometimes too.
Oh yeah.
So I forgot about it, but like man, that's such a fun thing. Like the chemistry of those guys. I know we've talked about Top Gear / Grand Tour before, but like every time I go back to it, it's such a relaxing, fun thing just to watch those guys banter and poke at each other. Yeah, it's perhaps feels more scripted now than maybe it used to once upon a time.
But
that
would be my only complaint.
Yeah,
is that it feels really contrived.
But the thing is,
when you get to the segments,
yeah,
it's good.
Well, the segments are good, and like I will say, I feel like the filmmaking prowess of the Grand Tour versus Top Gear is unrivaled. Like they were good at making little films and making cars look cool and sweeping everything. I don't know. It's just it's rare to see filmmaking as good as you see on quote unquote television as you do in the Grand Tour. It's such a weird thing because every time they'll just go to a place, and unless they're like, as they would say, taking the piss out of whatever place they're going to, it's like no, like you might think, going to Azerbaijan is like not a place you'd want to go, and they show up and they're like, holy shit, this place is amazing. Just like they're going around the world and showing you, it's not just cars, it's like the world and the people, and sometimes making some jokes along the way, sometimes making some off color or inappropriate for the times jokes, but it's like it's like a travel channel that happens to be somewhat focused on cars. It's a or travel, not channel, a show. Their goddamn branding has gotten to me. But yeah, it's just a travel show, and it happens to primarily feature cars and just some magnificent cinematography and editing and things. It's just, it's kind of bizarre. Like I said, it's like every episode's almost like a cinematic experience.
Yeah, well, they were getting really good the last season of Top Gear, and the last season of Top Gear is the last season where they had Jeremy Clarkson and the other guys, Richard Hammond.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost said Brian May. I don't know why.
James May.
Yeah. James May. So that's the last season of Top Gear. I know they've made other seasons, but none of them count. But they were getting really good with and they had always had a really nice footage, really well edited, but the production value going from Top Gear to Amazon, and I think it's just because they can spend the money.
Sure. Amazon has a little bit of money.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a little.
Yeah.
And going from the BBC, where they were pretty well funded, Top Gear was, but still, they didn't have just the hundreds of millions or whatever to throw at something like Amazon does. But yeah, it's good. I kind of stopped watching it. I kind of fell off a while ago. I think I need to take them in small bites, like, maybe one or two a month, because the contrivance kind of bothers me. Um,
I mean, it sucks now that you've learned some of their bags of tricks for jokes that you just pick up on them right away. Like whenever there's
yeah,
anything painted on a door or something that can separate, you're like, all right, what side says what? What side says the other thing? Or
yeah,
whatever. Just you're constantly looking for that because they've pulled that joke once too many. But yeah, even I appreciate their dedication to just making an entire program about a really 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 dumb concept. Like they're probably their most artful yet stupid and weird episode they ever did was like they got 3 RVs and went driving around the southwest of America. And I don't know if you made it that far, but it's this entire episode that's just basically a short film or an hour-long film. Like they only cut to the tent, I think, at the beginning and the end, maybe once in the middle for a hot minute. But it's like one of those where it's just like it's basically a special where it's almost all location-based dumbassery, and it's just that one's just crazy because it's like they go to this like weird level of like almost like Oliver Stone's The Doors-esque filmmaking from time to time with like weirdness in the desert and stuff, and it's just like,
hmm
why are you doing this for this dumb concept where they're obviously miserable driving fucking RVs in the desert with broken air conditionings and stuff that you're then making them wreck more? So that, that's almost every episode. It's like we took a half working car and now we're going to take it to the worst climate and by the end just totally fuck it up. you know, so but it's still entertaining. So.
But that's kind of the Top Gear spirit,
Mm-hmm.
is to just do a really ridiculous thing with a car,
Yep.
and then intersperse, a segment of a $250,000 sports car going around a track.
Yeah, with some really pretty music and or
Yeah,
electronic music and some really cool shots and lights and stuff. I mean, that footage that's in the Forza games, it's lifted straight from Top Gear. I mean, it wasn't just like, hey, we're going to get the
yeah,
people to voice over. Like, whenever it cut to film, that was Top Gear segments about whatever car,
yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, it's fun stuff. But you
The
were
Grand
mentioning
Tour.
you were mentioning cars and you to jump on the like I think I've realized now that I have an emotional trigger. I realize like anytime you talk about space shit, especially classic like daring fucking crazy astronaut time period, the Buzz Aldrin, Neil Armstrong era, like I just
Yeah.
immediately start almost fucking weeping because it's like, the very dictionary definition of awesome is what those people were doing. Like
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, like, I mean, and we've never come back to that kind of like selfless, let's fucking do this, like we're all together kind of thing for a while. I mean, we've had some small triumphs, but and we are doing cool shit now. I'm not knocking what we're doing now, but like that,
Yeah.
we're also like it's much more of a calculated risk now. It's not riskless. It's just like that was some cowboy shit. That was weird. Like that was crazy. Like I don't know if this is gonna fucking work, but whatever, let's do it kind of attitude. Like it's kind of like the professional. Hey, y'all, watch this.
Right.
But they were talking about like almost every single astronaut drove a Corvette because like Chevrolet actually they did this whole segment about it was like this whole history of Apollo 11 and stuff and talking about the astronauts with their Corvettes, but they were saying that like Chevrolet basically did this thing where because they were technically government employees, you couldn't gift them things. But like they through some local car dealership close to Cape Canaveral, they basically said we will lease you a Corvette for $1.
Yep.
Yeah, and so basically gave them all Corvettes. So of course they were speed junkies and crazy people. So it was like there's a section where James May got to drive Neil Armstrong's Corvette.
Isn't that what they
Oh,
had?
that's cool as shit.
Didn't that show up in like Apollo 13 or something? Because
What
I
the
know I've seen that somewhere
possibly
in
yeah.
like some sort of TV show or
I think
movie or
I think one of them drove their Corvette around.
It might have been in From Earth to the Moon
Apollo
because I
13.
had a little more room to breathe to talk about dumb
yeah.
shit like that.
I remember the $1 thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it
coming
was
up
it
at
was
some
just like
point.
Chevrolet came up with this workaround. It's like we'll just give them Corvettes for $1. It's not a gift. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, enough about cars and shit. I watched some other dumb things. I don't think I'm going to wait for Chuck to come back to do the Star Trek thing, but I'll save that towards the end so you can tune out if you want to. I watched a
Okay,
couple.
Tune out
whenever you
on
start
Star
talking,
Trek?
I tune out.
Oh, sure. But I did watch a couple other movies, and they're going to be the very mediocre opinion movie corner here. I'll start with the most negative, or the least like meh of them. I decided to watch that new movie called Downhill. It's got Will Ferrell and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Wow, what an unfun thing. like it's billed as like a comedy, but it's like the anti rom com. It's like the edge of divorce com. It's like we're saying we're that couple that's like one saying or doing one thing that's one step away from divorcing comedy. That's not funny at all.
That doesn't sound fun.
No, it's not. Like there's a potentially horrific thing that happens, and is the. I mean, this is a remake, I believe, of possibly a Swedish movie. I think because I think the whole thing takes place somewhere in Scandinavia. And I'm sorry if I'm saying it
Force
wrong.
majeure.
Force Majeure is the original movie, and maybe that one is more subtle. This one is just like vicious and like, yeah, we just kind of fucking hate each other, and we're not sure. Like it's one of those where there's obviously something that's wrong, but then they're both being horrible, kind of. So you can't even say like, well, he did the shitty thing or she did the shitty thing. It's kind of like you're both kind of being shitty. So why am I here? Kind of thing. And also, it's about skiing, which yeah. You can. I love Better Off Dead. It's not like you put skiing in it. I'm like fuck you, but I mean, like you have to make a good movie too. It's just skiing as a just. It feels like sort of like the version of Grown Ups, where it's like, yeah, let's go make a movie in Colorado, yeah, and in a ski lodge, sure, yeah, or maybe in the Alps. I don't know where the fuck they actually filmed this, but it just feels like let's go film this movie so we have a 3-month vacation in whatever nice place to ski all the time.
Yeah,
and we're like a really depressing movie that's unfortunately I think co-written, maybe co-directed by Jim Rash.
Yeah, both.
Yeah. I don't know. It's super unfunny and just depressing, really. I mean, it's got a couple like couples retreat level like, it's awkward. I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's funny. It's just awkward. Yeah, moments.
So, what do you think the motivation was for making?
I literally think it's like, let's have a free ski vacation.
Really?
Like, honestly, that's what it feels like, because they sure as shit. I mean, unless they were just like, this is very personal. I went through like my parents being divorced, and they should have gotten a divorce earlier. Like, I don't know. It's like some cathartic thing because it was like not fun to watch. But anyway, on a much more like, why the hell did they make this note? I just also decided to watch the new Fantasy Island, the horror version of
one.
Fantasy Island. I think I'm just gonna read my Letterboxd review because I don't think I can do better.
Okay.
This is one of those movies where you go, why? But ends up as something mostly competent. But then it actually ends, and you swing back hard to the original question asked. Because it's one of those things, like, as it's happening, I was like, why? Why this?
Well,
like, why did you make this like this?
I think somebody on our Discord was basically like, all right, I'm going to spoil this. They put spoiler tags on it, but it was just like, and I'm reading it going, that's really dumb. That's actually extra dumb. Like, that actually, if you look at the premise of the movie, that makes sense. Dumb.
It's one of those that makes sense while you're watching it. And like I said, it's a semi-competently made movie, like not horribly made, I mean, it's a Blumhouse thing. They now have a level of, some of their earlier things were sketchy, but like they have a formula and a look now to their stuff mostly. But you're watching it and just like the more it's going on, you're just like, I don't know why this is happening. Like, why did anyone make this?
Why you do this?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's not to say it's bad. It's just, you just circle back around to why. And then you're like, I don't have a good answer. So therefore I can ignore this. Like, not to say it's bad, really. It's dumb. Like, the premise is dumb, but it works in the world they've created. Sort of. I'm sure there's some questions you could go like, huh? But by the end, I was just like, yeah, I'm back to, I don't know why. Like, Michael Pena is fine as Mr. Rourke, But it's just weird. It's a weird thing that didn't need to exist. So.
Hey, at least Blumhouse let somebody make a movie again.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, oh, that's their thing. Like, it seems like, all right, they can make a movie cheap enough that let the person do it.
Yeah. I mean, this is just one of those weird ones. Like, did you just get the rights for cheap? And you're like, that's the thing, is like, you just go back to like, did you just get the rights because you're going to suck some people in? Because then you can start to be angry, kind of like, I don't know. I don't never know who these things are for. Like, why would you do something this weird and off brand of the original thing? And then I don't know who you're appealing to. I guess it works every once in a while. I think every once in a while there's a weird because didn't they? I haven't seen it, but don't people actually like the weird version of the? Is there like a horror movie that's not Five Nights at Freddy's? It's the Showbiz Things or something. Like it's basically Five Nights at Freddy's, but they like it's the
Yeah,
Chuck E.
I know what
Cheese
you're
and
talking about, but I
Showbiz
don't know what it is.
fucking explosion, whatever it is, the animatronic thing.
Rock-afire explosion.
Yeah,
Fire explosion.
like didn't they make a horror movie based on that or something like that? Or
They made a documentary that was horrifying.
oh no, what I'm thinking of it's like it's one of the old
Banana
fucking
Splits.
yes, that's it. I was about to say it's only one of
Yeah.
the Sid and Marty Krofft
Thanks
things.
to
Sorry.
Jen something in the chat. I can't see that. from
Yeah,
this
I'm sorry. Yes, it was. Yes, I was Sid and Marty Krofft thing. But yes, they were just like, let's make a horror version of that. Which, yeah, okay, like that's the same reason we got like horror movie clowns because people were like, that shit's supposed to be for kids and it's horrifying. Let's make a horror movie about it. So maybe they were terrified by fucking banana splits, but maybe make that shit when they were relevant. 25, 30 years later, it's sort of like, wow, how long you been carrying this? Half-baked idea around in your head, like this childhood trauma that you just like, I must make this eventually because those fuckers gave me nightmares. I don't know. This feels like in the same vein of just like, all right, sure. I mean, I can't imagine there's any people that are just like out protesting like, this is not my fantasy island. Like, I don't think anyone gives enough of a shit about Fantasy Island to get offended. But like I said, if you're somehow ripping this name of this half forgotten thing from time to remake it, why make a weird horror movie? I don't know. It's strange. I'm gonna stop asking why.
I mean,
and try Bud Dry.
is basically everything they do a horror movie?
Blumhouse?
Sure
Well, I mean,
like it.
Upgrade, arguably not a horror, kind of a horror movie, not a horror movie.
Yeah, and I guess they put out Black Klansman and Glass, so it's kind of like in the Purge movies. So I don't know, and
Yeah.
Benji
Well,
apparently bigger. but
Benji? Did you say Benji?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. But it's the grim and gritty reboot of Benji.
Revengey.
Yes.
It's actually just Cujo, but they named it Benji.
but a much smaller dog.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, it's like whenever you hear Blumhouse, you immediately think, okay, what is the horror through line of whatever movie this is?
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like I said, when they make things like this, it got me. I was one of the people who was like, I have to see what this is. I really don't give two shits about Fantasy Island, but I have seen it. I grew up when it was on television. Yeah. Yep. Oh, I watched that. Yeah, that's the end of like the mediocre corner. The only thing I have left is the Stars Trek, which, like I said, I guess I'll talk about them because Chuck ain't here. I can't wait forever for you, Chuck. I wanted to have a debate me, but you're not here.
I'll just sit here and nod or shake my head or
Man.
something.
so, do you have a ranking?
Ooh, yeah, I could do that.
I mean, obviously, Wrath of Khan's going to be number one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there can't be any contenders otherwise, right?
No. I mean, the closest for me, and it's not even super close, is 6, Undiscovered Country. Then I would probably go with, and this is where it starts getting controversial. Then I would go First Contact because I still think that's the best Next Generation movie. Then I would probably go 4, A Voyage Home, the whale one, if you prefer. Then probably 3, Search for Spock. This is where people really hate me. I'm actually gonna go with Insurrection next. I know a lot of people hate that one, but I have more deeper takes on all of these if you want to hear.
So
I'm just doing the ranking thing.
So that's your Star Trek 5. Like Chuck loves Star Trek 5 for whatever fucking reason.
Contrarianism.
Yeah. But
no,
Insurrection, is that your
Nemesis?
5?
No.
in other
Nemesis,
words,
the one is like universally hated in the Next Generation movie. Insurrection is the one where people's like, that's a fucking boring one, and I'm like,
okay,
that's okay. Like, all right, I'll circle back around and I'll explain myself a little better. But let me finish the ranking. Then I would probably go. Who do I have left? I think this is where I would go with the original number 1.
Yeah, and you also have Generations.
Yeah,
left.
then I would go Generations, and then Nemesis, and then 5. That's how it goes.
So 5 is dead last.
Oh, absolutely. Never will change. Never will change. All right. Deeper thoughts on each one.
Okay.
Okay, starting with one because that's how I just watched them in order. That's all I did. I think the thing that I most appreciate about one is their attempt to just, Star Wars had come. I know they were probably already in production because it's like 2 years later, and I'd have to imagine they were already well in motion of making this movie. But like, I appreciate that like they just went to the 2001 playbook of this is how you make a sci-fi movie, except that the movie's 11 years newer by the time it came out, and everything looks 100% worse. Like I know people will argue, and I know that there were some like behind the scenes budget cuts and rushing and things like that, and all of that. Star Wars making $1 billion, get your fucking movie out, kind of basically. But it just means that what they put out was not great. Like it's. I totally appreciate the fact that like what they were going for, but there is literally a sequence in it that is a shuttle ride to the Enterprise that is 5 minutes long. I timed it. I looked. It's 5 minutes long of Kirk and McCoy riding in a fucking shuttlecraft as it just circles around the Enterprise. And it's like, I am super happy that you either rebuilt or dug out the miniature and are now filming it in fucking CinemaScope. I don't need 5 goddamn minutes of hero shot. Like, the first 10 seconds was like, fuck yeah, it's the Enterprise, big screen, Jerry Goldsmith music is sweeping, let's do this. And then it just keeps fucking going. I will say,
Do you think it's like they watched 2001 before working on it? And
oh,
like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need that kind of pacing.
All of this needs to take a really long time, show the entire docking sequence, and, not the fun kind. And, yeah, it's just too dull. Like I appreciate the aesthetics and the fact that they were going for models because I'm going to glorify models later in this list too. And the other thing I love is like they kind of ditched the original series was always kind of like, space pirate, leisure wear kind of, they were just like, they were wearing, bell bottom, like naval pants and, swashbuckly looking shirts and stuff. But like this one is just like, fuck it, we're just like retro, speed suiting here. These are just like laser shoot suits and shit. Like everyone's just got these like low V cut necks and stuff. It's just it's kind of fucking great, men and women. Like it's just I like so much, and I've always circled around to this. Like I love the fact that like it's trying to just be this sweeping thing and be the serious space thing that Star Wars clearly wasn't. Or it's just like, no, this is got to go. Like we're gonna have good music and stuff, but this has got to fucking move. This one just doesn't fucking work because the effects are bad and rushed and all of that. So anyway, do I have to say anything? We've talked about Wrath of Khan. People know Wrath of Khan. We talked about Wrath of Khan before we saw Into Darkness. So Khan.
Yeah. It's like a good it's a good sub versus sub movie.
Yeah,
like submarine versus submarine movie is really what it is.
Yeah. I mean, two's great. Like, I mean, I just don't feel like I have to say anything more about two.
Yeah,
it's the best. Three. I personally have given 3 a very bad rap over the years. It's solid. Like, it's a really good continuation of 2. It's not the sub-warfare part of 2. It's the other stuff continued on, but it just picks right up and it's just like, yeah, remember how we ended 2? Like, now we're gonna undo and explain what you probably thought was gonna happen anyway, but here's a movie about it.
See, yeah. I gotta say, what I love about the Star Trek movies is in the beginning of 2, I believe it's Bones is giving Kirk like a bottle of liquor or something. He's like, yeah, we're not getting any younger. We're pretty old.
Yes.
Still doing this. And then those motherfuckers made 4 more movies after that.
Yes. Well, that's actually about to come up because yes, it's definitely going to come up in part of this thing here. But anyway, three's much better than I thought. Like I now rank it much higher in the list than I would have. 4 is one of those things. That's another thing I don't have to talk about a lot because it's the one most even non-Star Trek people have seen. It's the most like popular friendly one. They travel back in time. But yeah, it's one of those things where it feels like a thing that shouldn't work because, you usually do the fantastical fish out of water thing because you're trying to cut budget. And this movie is just like, no, we did that because that's the story we wanted to tell. Like we used to do that on the old series. We're just going to make it bigger and not like, on a soundstage in the back lot of Paramount. Like they were before. We're going to make a real movie in San Francisco and stuff. And it's just like the comedy of that movie nails it. Like it's solid beats and comedy timing throughout that entire movie. my two favorite bits are like basically what a lot of the people we don't understand how cursing works because we don't do that anymore. But one of the first examples is them just blatantly walking out in the middle of the street, to which of course I don't know why they're in San Francisco, but the cabbie stops and is just like, "Hey!" It's like this New York cabbie that's in San Francisco honks the horn. He's like, "What are you doing, you dumbass?" And Kirk just looks at him and goes, "Yeah, well, double dumbass to you." It's just, I don't know why his delivery of that is just really solid. And my other favorite line delivery is in the hospital shenanigans towards the end of the movie. They're just, they're trying to do the doctors in disguise thing, sneak someone out of the hospital, classic bit. But Bones is just walking down the hallway and sees some lady that's just moaning, and he's like, "What's wrong with you?" And she's like, "I'm on dialysis." And he's like, "Dialysis? This is Spanish Inquisition? Here, take one of these," and hands her a pill and just walks off. And then as the shenanigans start happening, of course, when they about get discovered, trying to sneak someone out of the hospital, just off of the sort of in the background, like not the primary thing of focus, she's just being wheeled down the hallway, and she's just screaming at the top of her lungs, "Doc gave me a pill and I grew a new kidney." Just and all the doctors just walk around like, "Yeah, new kidney. Oh, it's fucking weird." But like those are my two favorite bits. Yeah, Star Trek 4 is great.
Good,
but not 5. 5. I wrote first line. It's still bad. It's almost incalculable how many ways I dislike this movie, but let me try. Since 1, these have all been "I'm too old for this shit" mentality. Suddenly in this one, they're all acting like people 30 years younger. Kirk goes fucking free soloing on like one of the hardest to climb mountains on the face of the earth, possibly the hardest to do free. I mean, he's fucking climbing El Capitan, free climbing it. And, like Uhura is like nearly 60 years old and does her sexy dance, distract the guards thing. It's just, this is so weird. Like, this just feels like somebody's fucking Star Trek fan script that they dusted off in 1973, and they're like, "What have you made movies?" Everything like everyone does in this movie is so against type. There is literally a joke that Scotty goes, "Don't worry, I know the ship like the back of my head." Turns around and goes conk into a fucking beam and knocks himself out to the point that he gets so knocked out he gets captured. Like, that is the level of shit that is happening in this movie. Of just like your fucking lead engineer conks his head on a beam, knocks himself out, and gets captured. It's just so fucking stupid. I hate 5. I really do. Yeah.
And that's why Chuck loves it.
I mean, the only thing that like gives me like a little bit of comfort is reading that like they were really trying to cast Sean Connery as Spock's long lost brother Sybok, the jovial Vulcan, the one who has embraced emotions instead of and is and on his quest to find God. I don't know that it would made the movie good because I think the script is horrendous, but like at least it would have been like a fun train wreck where you get this over the top performance by Connery like on top of it. Yeah. My last, the other thing, like I know this is now about to go like maybe I'm wrong about Star Trek 5. For me, I dislike it in the way that I dislike Batman Returns, and I know I'm talking to two Batman Returns defenders here, but for me, the motivations and or the portrayals of these characters are so against their type that it's just like I can't. It's where I become the pedantic, like, but that's not what so-and-so would do. Like, it's too far. Like, I'm generally okay with, like, interpreting a character in a different way, but, like, what Batman Returns does to certain characters, including Batman just joyfully dropping a motherfucker with a bomb down a hole to let him explode. Like, the whole Batman doesn't kill people, except he just fucking blew somebody up here. Like, directly. You could argue he blew people up when he exploded the fucking factory in the first one, but this was directly like, I'm going to kick you down a fucking sewer vent and let you explode kind of murder thing. But like, yeah, in Star Trek 5, Kirk just like is in a bar fight and there's like literally a cat lady. And I mean, like, she like looks like an early prototype for the movie Cats cat lady, like with a tail and a whole body fur and everything. And he just fucking murders her like in a bar fight for no reason. It's just like, okay, that's usually the kind of thing you'd be trying to fuck, but you just murdered it. Like, it's just, I don't know. I hate it. I hate 5.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, he murders her because they have this dumb, like, it's like a pool table, except it's got water on it. So the balls move like real weird and fluidy. And then he murders her by throwing into that. Like, it's basically like aqua pool. Pool. But Yeah,
Okay.
he murders her by throwing her
Pool
into
billiards.
to pool billiards, and so it's just like, oh, water murdered her, I guess. My one weakness. Let me work all day next to a fucking water table. It sucks, but yeah. Anyway, back to positive ones. Star Trek 6. This is one of those ones that I recommend like never ever reading behind the scenes stuff on this movie, because it kind of, I feel like, detracts from what I think is what I ranked the second best Star Trek movie, because apparently there was a lot of finger pointing and I don't want to do this and I don't want to say this and I wouldn't be the person that says this. I want to do this, power play bullshit behind the scenes by actors and things. Some of them possibly warranted. I'll get to that, but just what I just saying, don't read that. Like, it's just one of those things that makes you like,
Okay.
I feel like view the movie in a different light, because I kind of adore this movie, because the whole thing is an allegory about the fall of the Soviet Union. Klingons basically have their version of a Chernobyl, and they're like, we're kind of fucked. We need to ask for help. Like, it's not traditionally what we do, but we kind of need help. And some people are like, no, Klingons first. Make, whatever. Fuck. Name of the whole world out of my head. I'm gonna have to lose my Star Trek card. But anyway,
Klingonia.
yes, Klingonia. Kronos.
Hurrah!
I think it's Kronos. Kronos. Yeah, not spelled like. Yeah, whatever. They're making Greek war references. Anyway, they're just like, it's basically all about that. And my favorite thing about it, and obviously it's something that Quentin Tarantino also appreciates, is that I forgot exactly how much idioms they misattribute in this movie. He opens Kill Bill with your revenge is the dish best served cold, an ancient Klingon proverb, and that's literally said in this movie. You're forgetting about the ancient Klingon proverb, revenge is a dish best served cold, or Spock quoting more or less the Sherlock Holmes / Occam's razor, when you remove all that's plausible, however improbable it must be true, kind of thing. He basically is like, yeah, my ancient Vulcan cousin or ancestor said this or whatever. It's constantly, and then like, you haven't lived till you've read Shakespeare in the original Klingon. There's constantly saying things like that, and it's just all throughout this movie, and it's, for some reason, it just totally works in this dumb movie for some reason. Yeah. Also, he's like, forget the ancient Vulcan proverb, if only Nixon could go to China. Just dumb things like that just are played so completely straight-faced that they absolutely work for me. So, I don't know. I like 6. Forget all the stupid, behind-the-scenes stuff. 7. All right, so 7 is the other one, Chuck. That's his other place where he's wrong, because Chuck claims...
God, how many Star Treks are there?
There are 10, and the last of them are about to be much shorter. 7 is the other one where I feel Chuck's a little contrarian. Generations, yes. He claims it's the only good Next Generation movie, which, okay. But I've realized now everything that's wrong with Generations to me is in the direction. I think this had a bad director. Like, this was a director that shouldn't have been doing this movie. They made dumb choices, like to naturally light the interiors of the Enterprise through everywhere. Like nothing in the Enterprise, like it's like they forgot to pay their power bill. It's just like, oh, the only light's coming in from the sun that we're parked next to, or it's the light coming off the warp core. It's just all dark and weird and stupid, and I get that they like, we don't want to make it just look like the show, but you should have, and thankfully they did for the rest of the movies going forward. But the thing about it, I don't hate the story, like going back, like I thought I did. It's just everything about it is in the direction of this movie. But the model work, I think this is might be the last one they were like solely reliant on models for most of their stuff, because the model work in this is like some of the best model work I've ever seen. Like the intricate details and stuff, it's stunning in that capacity. So it's had a horrible actual director, must have had a fantastic second unit director, because whoever did the model work is damn good. But yeah, I don't know. Just I don't dislike Generations as much as I once did, but it fails because of the directing. First Contact, that's the other one I think most people have seen. It's Next Generation versus the Borg movie. That was the other kind of
the action movie.
Yeah, it's basically the action movie. It's the other one like most people have seen. But yeah, I still think that's the best Next Generation movie. I know people are like, they just turn it into an action movie, and maybe Picard's motivations get a little wonky, but I don't know. It works for me because it's, as someone correctly points out, it's basically a Moby Dick thing. Like the Borg turned him into a Borg, and he has to he's following revenge despite him thinking he's better than that, and then just has to like come to terms with that. So it's good to me. And Goldsmith is weird because like his involvement in the Star Trek movies like skips around. Like he wouldn't do one because like they cut the budget or it was like he just didn't like the script or whatever. But it's like his involvement in them is like comes and goes throughout all this. But he's back for First Contact and kicks ass. Like that score is amazing. Like it's one of those like few times where I was just like, oh, I can't help but pay attention to the score. It's really good right now. Like as this action scene is happening. But almost done. I promise. Insurrection. That's the one everyone calls the boring one. This is the one I probably want to talk about the most, only because it's not necessarily just about Star Trek, but it's weird because we personally, and I thought the world had kind of come to this consensus. Maybe it's just me wishing our thoughts upon the world. We have constantly said, in regards to Marvel movies, every other thing that's like long in the tooth, you don't have to constantly one up yourself. Like every once in a while, just scale back and make a smaller movie. You know, do the Ant-Man, do the like. This is personal stakes for him. It's not world-ending consequences if he doesn't win. It's just real bad for him personally, and we're okay with those like step down, do less movies because you can't you can't just keep one upping yourself. I mean, Search for Spock is a perfect example, winding down from the the bigness of Wrath of Khan. It's the same kind of thing, and I feel like Insurrection is the same thing. It's like you can't try to top the action stuff you were doing in First Contact, so just make a real solid episode of the TV show, and there's nothing wrong with that. Make a 90-minute version of the TV show that's just about some personal stakes. I mean, it's almost a Western, because it's these people live on this planet. It basically has something that people want. They're trying to forcefully relocate them, and they're like, no, we're not doing that. That ain't right. And so it's basically kind of the Western mentality, just with pew-pews and stuff. So I don't know. I feel like I've also just joined in that chorus of like Insurrection is boring, but it's fine. Like it's a good movie. Like to me, there's just nothing wrong with scaling down a sequel, especially when you had like one of the biggest, craziest action ones in the previous one. So, and finally, we come to Nemesis, probably what most people will actually say is the worst Star Trek movie. Period. Like forgetting 5 even exists. I don't know why. This is the last Next Generation one. This is the one where they do the Picard clone that's Tom Hardy. This was like the weird thing where Tom Hardy briefly appeared in mainstream and then disappeared for a few years and then came back with like Bronson and all those kinds of things and Inception and whatnot. And then people were like, hey, Tom Hardy. But this was his first attempt where it didn't go so well. I don't know. It's easily, like I was just saying, it's easily the worst of the Next Generation movies, despite the fact that I don't really like Generations, but it's not as bad as I remember. Like I feel like there's some extremely questionable choices that they make along the way because there's a plot device that it's. I know this is going to sound like one of those things where as soon as you say it, you're like, that's enough for me to say this movie sucks. There's basically a point where Counselor Troy gets mind raped. You might as well say. Like someone is like she's getting down with her new husband Riker because they finally get married in the beginning of this one, and someone like enters her mind mid coitus, using psychic powers, and then it's like it's treated like she was raped. Which sure, yes, I mean it is an extreme violation of one's personal nature. Except this is, I mean, it's bad. I feel like it's a bad contrivance of a plot device. However, it is. For the time and what it is, it's handled kind of well because she does kind of get revenge directly.
Okay.
It's a dumb plot point of how she does it again, but it's one of those like I feel like in a lesser movie, which granted this one's already pretty low, you would have just used that as a plot device and then just been like, yeah, well that happened, sucks for you. And then like the hero of the movie comes along and be like, you shouldn't have done that, blam. But like she gets some direct intervention, revenging, of in this movie, so it kind of. Yeah. Ends up being sort of okay, even though stop using that as a plot device, kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's not as bad as I thought it was. I mean, I at the end for some reason I said I guess this one would be number 8 on my top 10. What did I say was worse? I think I switched.
5 was worse.
I think I flipped. Well, I know 5 is worse, but I think I flip flopped where its position and motion and the original one were. From or in my head. Doesn't matter. They're around there towards the bottom for me. But yeah, it's one of those. It's not as bad as I remember, but I I don't argue with anyone that doesn't like it at the same time. I just think if you really think this one's worse than 5, check it again. Check the math. It's not. It's bad. It's just not as bad.
Check your figures.
Yeah. I don't know. I just that one's like, this one's shot better, it's made better. So at the very least, technically it's a better movie just from the fact that like there's some really bad editing in 5. I mean, it's a goof from the IMDb, but it's so visible that it's like one of those early ones that like started the movement of pointing out film goofs, because it's just so like, how the fuck could I not notice that? If I have eyes, because like there's a point where Spock's rocket boots, he saves Captain Kirk from like falling down an elevator shaft, and they're flying up, and it's just like the numbers are like 32, 45, 57 as they're like going up, and then it's like 32, 45, 57. So they're just like circling like the same 3 or 4 floors just over and over and over again, and they're giant fucking like stenciled impact font things behind them. So it's like, if you have eyes and are looking, it's a big film flub, like it's a big one. Yeah, it's clearly there. But I don't know. They're both bad, and I'm done. I'm sorry for talking about Star Trek without Chuck. But now
You're
I'm done.
fine.
You shouldn't be sorry for talking about Star Trek without Chuck.
Just for talking about it.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry for talking about Star Trek in period.
Okay.
In general.
I'll accept that.
Yeah.
I mean, they are the movies. I mean, generally
I'll
regarded.
hold off on watching all of them.
Generally
Maybe I'll
regarded
watch
as
the new 3.
Yeah. You should watch the new 3. But I mean, even amongst Star Trek people, like I think you can watch the movies and it doesn't make you that much of a nerd. Like they're like this is accessible. Like you don't need to know all the minutia. Just come on an adventure for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like it'll be fine. I'll have a few laughs. Yeah.
Yeah. So there were only like 3 seasons of the original.
Yes. 3 probably shouldn't have happened. 3 was resurrected, but it had like a half the budget, which was a nothing budget anyway. So
Yeah.
3 is, there's a couple of okay episodes, and I won't say solid. There's a couple of okay episodes in it. Most of it is like, when you think of the cardboard sets and like the whole thing shaking when you supposedly are getting shot at, like that's the stuff they're showing you, because it was like they took their budget all the way away.
Yeah. And Next Generation had like 6 or 7 seasons,
yeah.
right?
All Star Trek besides the original had 7, except for Enterprise, which got canceled after it got 4, I think. But and that's not counting new stuff. But like it was weird because like Next Generation, Voyager, and Deep Space Nine all went 7 seasons. Like it was some contractual. I mean, I know you have to get to 100 seasons to get syndication.
Yeah.
Or 100 episodes.
But you get to 100 around the 5th season.
Yeah. So, but it just seemed weird. They were like, nope, 7 seasons and you're done. That's what we do here at Star Trek World.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I guess Enterprise underperformed so much that they were just like, nah, 4's enough and you're good. Like get out. Because 4 was like they knew at the beginning of 4 that was their last season, because it was clear that they took every idea they had for the next what they thought were probably going to be 4 seasons and put it in 1 season, because they were just like, here's all the shit that we were planning to slowly say, like, how do you get from what we know Klingons look like in Next Generation and we decided to use in this to the guys with really bad eyebrows and stuff in the old series and bad face paint. Like they actually explain that, like they come up with a retcon story explanation for why they look different in that time period. And it makes sense and works. It's weird.
And the one that's on CBS now.
There's 2. They have Star Trek Discovery and Picard. Yeah.
Yeah. So when is the CBS, the Discovery one? When is that?
I believe Discovery is after the Enterprise. No. I think it's like actually after Enterprise, but before the original series Enterprise. Like, I know it's so stupid that they called that for that one show Enterprise, because it makes it confusing. But Enterprise is like
still a prequel.
Enterprise, the Star Trek quote Enterprise is about the first space vessel named Enterprise, not counting the space shuttle. The first warp capable one. It's like they barely have a warp drive. They're going out for the first time, like, oh, let's see what's out here. So it's a definite prequel to the original series, except that they had more modern looking tech because they had a budget. But yeah, that towards the end they had basically go like, oh shit, we've been using all the same makeup effects we have for everybody, and that doesn't explain how it looks shitty in the original series. So use this last season to come up with a storyline. Go. Yeah.
Weird.
It's good though. Like it's a really good season of television. Mostly made better by Jeffrey Combs being on almost all the episodes in the last season. He's really good on that show.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's enough. Now I'm done with the Star Trek. But you asked me. You asked
It's
me.
fine, man.
Yeah, Discovery. I can't get into Discovery. I've tried. I watched all of Picard, but I cannot get into Discovery. I've tried twice. There's just something very off-putting about that cast. I don't know what it is. Like it doesn't gel like at all. I'm like I can't find anyone to identify with or care about at all. So maybe it gets. I heard it gets better, but it'd have to.
Yeah. Can only go up, right? So, BJ, you got anything else?
No, I don't
Or are
have
we
anything
wrapping
else.
it up?
I think we're about to wrap it up.
Yep.
B?
All right.
I think that's all the dumb shit I watched. Sorry to have watched so much dumb shit.
Nah, I'm sure the rest of us will watch some dumb shit between this week and next. Maybe we'll have Chuck on next week. I don't know.
Maybe. We might get a little chuckle.
Yeah, we hope. So, uh, during the weeks, afternoons and evenings, BJ and I have both been streaming video games. Yep, on twitch.tv/no quarters net. So when we're not watching movies or TV shows or documentaries about old basketball teams, we're probably doing that. So check it out.
Yeah. Mackie's doing like mornings. I'm doing evenings. So we don't have a set schedule because we don't want to do that to ourselves. But we will be there on the internet.
Yeah, keep an eye on
video
Twitter.
game noises. Yeah.
Or follow. Get on our Discord. We have talky chats in there. You can get in some arguments directly with us. Tell us how much we're
Yeah.
stupid about Star Trek movies
Fight me.
or more interesting things.
Come to the Discord in 20 minutes if you want an ass kicking.
Yeah. But yeah, over at
Nice.
bmfcast.com, there's links to join all of our social things, but try the Discord. You might like it. It's something to do. We're either we're locked in our homes or locked in an office. We can still interact. Be sociable.
Exactly. All right. Well, let's get out of here, shall we?
Oh, all right. I'm Harlow.
I'm Mackie.
I'm BJ. And for Chuck, this is Bamcast out. Stay safe, motherfuckers.
Good night.
All right. I don't know what happened. My nose just started running like a motherfucker.
You better catch
It's all them termites.
Probably is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. I need a bigger glass.
So that was amusing. They came in and drilled a bunch of holes in the wall and flooded it with poison. That could be why. It could be the poison is killing me. And yeah. Hopefully they will all die.
Well, at least you spotted them early before it got to be a really crazy thing.
Well, the thing about that is the pest control guy said that they had probably been there for 2 to 3 years. So
Oh Jesus! Never mind.
this is about as early as you can catch them. Like this is as early as you'll notice them. So damage has already been done, but it shouldn't be enough to really affect the building in any significant way. Hopefully.
Well, the other good thing is those
Cross.
buildings are pretty old, right? Like the wood kind of hardens up, so it slows their progress. Like the longer that wood is,
Maybe.
I think it does. I mean, it just wood kind of petrifies over time a little bit, but not to the fact that termites can eat right through the. God, why are my brains the hardy board? No, hardy board's what they can't really eat through. It's the
It's
the concrete.
T111.
Yeah, T111 is
No.
they can eat through it, but it's very unlikely. But I'm talking about they got the
T111 they love.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, hardy board is the concrete stuff.
I think they're the same thing. But I don't know.
No, trust me.
T-
I'm reciting my house with hardy board.
Okay.
It's different from T111.
Yeah.
but yeah. Also, luckily, they're not like the terrible termites. They're kind of just regular bad.
Yeah, whatever. The concrete infused wood, it's like having croutons in their salad. Like it slows them down, but not by a lot.
I gotcha. But yeah, so some like after they poisoned it, some of the actual termites started falling out from. So when I first noticed them swarming, they were coming out from the siding, like they're just crawling in between the overlapping pieces of siding. But after they sprayed inside, some of the actual termites, not just the swarmers, some of the actual termites started falling out of there dead. Um, I'd never seen one in person before, and they're this big.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not even kidding, they're tiny.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. I thought they were like ants, like ant size, like carpenter ant size or something.
Yeah.
No,
But no, they're
they're the opposite of carpenter ants.
yeah, they're D carpenter ants. All right, I've already uploaded uh, my wave file for Chuck.
Yeah, I'm exporting mine now.
I can't, or the audio, the live stream goes mute.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, I mean, if I turn off the mixer, then all the sound goes
Oh,
away,
that's
and everyone's
right.
just like
Yeah.
looking at us talking without saying anything,
Backwards we are talking.
which is us normally.
Right. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Well, since
Done.
my connection sucks, I'll probably drop so that I can upload this to Dropbox.
All right.
But yeah, I'll see you guys on Discord and probably on Twitch.
You're seeing us on Discord right now.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm ready to go. I'm extremely hungry.
Be seeing
So-
you.
Well, go eat, man.
I will as soon as we get off this fucking call.
Okay.
Sounds good. All right.
Yeah, so I'm Mackie.
I'm Harlow.
I'm Slappy.
Yeah.
And I'm Fuck.
And I'm Fuck.
See ya.
See y'all later.
All right.